就等於兩日。
喺下邊嗰度係唔好意思呢個。
Thank you for joining us. The issue we're tackling today is about inadequate quarantine support services at the airport for ethnic minority passengers, involving the supply of halal food. And some might think, oh, that's no big deal, because by definition, halal food would mean anything vegetarian. But then the whole saga could amount to suspected, apparent racial bias treatment of our ethnic minority passengers, prompted by language barrier, skin color, or sheer ignorance. And you would say, oh, it all boils down to indifference. Now, we need to be reminded that indifference could just be the worst form of discrimination in any way. 我哋今日嘅記者招待會咧，主要係投訴喺機場嗰度係不足嘅檢疫同埋係隔離嘅服務嘅尤其是係對我哋嘅少數族裔嘅人士，有好多咧本身就係香港人喺香港居住嘅。咁有人話你講而家話冇嘅食物係清真食物，咁基本上咧就係所有素食都係清真食物㗎啦。咁可能係語言上溝通唔好啫咁嚇。咁但係整件事咧就可以大家睇到係可以代表到涉嫌疑似種族歧視嘅對待係相對於我哋嘅少數族裔，尤其是係香港人，係基於膚色抑或係無知抑或純粹係語言嘅問題呢？咁希望不論係機管局或者係我哋嘅衛生署咧，係多加留意嘅。會有人話咁你講到底係冷漠啫對你唔夠熱情。大家一定要記得融樂會，香港嘅融樂會時時提醒大家，冷漠可能係最壞最差嘅一款歧視嚟嘅。咁首先請陳家朗區議員，佢係尖沙咀區嘅，就同大家講一講下佢協助有關家庭滯留喺機場嗰個過程。
唔該晒各位，夠大聲啊，唔使開麥啦咁樣。咁我係 Leslie， 咁其實咧我早2個禮拜前咧嘅禮拜6咧9月12號嘅時候就收到隔離呢位先生 Mr. Asif 佢嘅一個 WhatsApp 就求助，咁就話佢嘅太太同埋2個小朋友咧喺印度係坐飛機翻到嚟香港嘅時候咧，係因為架機上有啲疑似確診人士，咁佢就係被即係扣留啦。咁但係超過咗36個鐘啦，當時就係冇清真食物供應啦，亦都冇人話到俾佢聽點解啦，即係個情況。咁喺機場入面，佢哋啲 staff 都比較係冷漠啦，因為 DOH 即係衛生署扣留佢哋噶嘛。咁但係啲職員又唔係好願意去同佢溝通啦。咁因為佢嘅太太係主要係講英文同埋烏都語嘅。咁唔知點解咁喺入面就留咗咁耐，咁一路冇嘢食。咁連埋2個小朋友，一個9歲，一個5歲。咁到最後啦，咁佢揾到我嘅時候咧，我再去話，不如果你太太係可以聯絡到現場啲職員，如果因為中文嘅問題，咁俾個電話佢叫俾啲職員同我講啦。咁最後咧同機另一個人就 pass 個電話過嚟，咁我可以直接同到個機場入面嘅衛生署嘅職員去對話。但係佢淨係話到俾我聽，佢太太只會送去 Penny Bay， 即係呢個竹篙灣。咁咧，我話咁幾時或者依家有冇辦法可以提供到啲清真食物俾佢哋即係三母子喺入面係肚餓咗30幾，最後係40個鐘啦直情。嗰個職員咧就即刻將個電話 pass 翻俾借電話嗰位女士。完全都係唔願意溝通。我話可唔可以問因為你揸唔到主意，可唔可以俾啲 supervisor 個電話我，或者我直接同你 supervisor 講，佢都唔肯。嗰位姓黃嘅，我好記得。但係到最後佢淨係話咗俾我聽 Penny Bay。咁幾經辛苦啦，終於揾到呢個即係 Penny Bay 嗰邊嘅CAS 啦。咁嗰邊就好快手已經即刻話聯絡咗 冇問題，你可以自己送食物入嚟。不過因為佢哋過咗食飯時間，啲清真食物咧，佢哋自己 pantry bay 嗰度就冇晒㗎啦，所以要佢漏夜嗰晚就落雨係送入去。咁另一個我要再講嘅，應該仲有另一個我哋 video 會係live 俾佢去講嘅咧，就係一位Mr. Summit。咁咧佢就啱呢個禮拜嗰班 AI 310翻嚟嘅，啱啱嗰個禮拜5、6嗰個，即係又係有幾個確診㗎啦。咁依家大家都知道 AI 310嗰班機，即係印度航空已經係停飛2個禮拜啦，香港政府唔俾佢哋。咁嗰陣時佢有4至5個呢啲咁嘅家庭咧，都係一樣類似嘅個案，一樣都係咁扣留住。可唔可以 pass 張圖俾我？咁咧最初年咧一啲咁樣嘅瞓嘅地方都俾唔到佢哋，食嘅地方都俾唔到佢哋。咁嘢食咁，但係經過佢哋即係好耐爭取，先至一啲咁嘅 camp bed 都冇嘅，即係可能係瞓緊啲凳啊、一啲床啊、床墊啫喎，其實係同埋攞啲好似啲partition 一啲嘅布嘅 partition 先至叫做稍為可以休息到，但係佢哋都扣咗成20幾30個鐘喺入面，又係冇食物，咁呢個都係一個佢哋遇到問題。不過應該咧，因為呢一個技術問題啊，佢嗰邊就可能未必收到依邊個電腦嘅聲。但佢可以就直接講翻俾大家聽係發生咩事。我暫時我相信要講嘅都係咁多，咁我交翻俾 Mr. Summit。
May I ask you?
Sorry.
No, I don't think you need that because the audio wouldn't be good via the mic. Yeah, I think you can. We move a bit. Yeah, 得㗎啦。
Okay.
Good.
So my name is Asif Ahmed, and whatever I speak here is out of the experience that my spouse and my kids have faced at Hong Kong International Airport. And the following conversation is only our personal experience, and it has no legal rise. And finally, our intention is only to bring some changes which can enhance the experience of passengers, no matter whichever country they are from, and they have a smooth transition at Hong Kong International Airport. Okay, I start with the first ordeal of my spouse and my kids, who landed in Hong Kong International Airport on 11th of September around 6:15 a.m. by
A.M.
in the morning. Okay, so as per the local Hong Kong Department of Health guidelines, they were supposed to undergo a COVID-19 test, and they were expected to wait till the test results are out in a specified restricted zone in airport. So the specimen was taken and they got the report by 9 p.m. on the same day, which is about 15 hours from the time they landed in the airport. So during all these 15 hours, all 177 passengers were expected to wait in a restricted zone. They had no access to outside of food, except the food that they carried with themselves and a few water, which is provided by Department of Health. I was not made any understanding that there was any food provided by either airport authorities or Department of Health during the first 15 hours. Okay, and the second ordeal of my family is post the test results. All my family members, my spouse and my 2 kids aged 9 and 5 years respectively, tested negative. But however, they were sitting, we were told, alleged that they were sitting in a table which was placed close to a fellow passenger of a baby girl of 4 years who tested positive. So Department of Health said they have reason to believe that my family is in close contact with the COVID-19 passenger, and they said my family will be sent to an institutional quarantine center, and we will not be allowed to send to our quarantine hotel. We agreed to it as a law-abiding citizen, absolutely fine to follow the rules. But the problem is that the third ordeal starts from here. Like, my family was not sent to quarantine center on the same night. They were confined to sleep at an open hall, just with few barricades. There was no privacy for my wife, and there was no food provided to my kids. Whatever the food we have bought as a check-in, as a hand carry, that can support us only for the first 15 or 18 hours, because we were made food supplies. My family bought food supplies which can support them only for the first 15 to 18 hours. and our food supplies are over, and my wife asked for food, and unfortunately they did not provide the food overnight. Next day morning, right from 7 a.m., my wife keep asking them that when would we be sent to quarantine center. They asked to wait. So it happened every 1 hour. Every 1 hour my wife tried to go there and they said you have to wait. Sometimes I understand out of frustration they have become harsh and serious, but at the same time they don't understand the paranoia and the mental agony that my wife and my 2 kids are going through at the same time. I tried to contact my embassy to see if they can provide food supply at the restricted area, but unfortunately they tried their best, but unfortunately they couldn't send any food inside the restricted zone because of the restrictions that they have. I tried every best possible way to contact my friends who are working in airlines, but they couldn't help because of the restrictions. So finally I have contacted my district councillor, Mr. Leslie. So he tried some strings, and then finally they were sent to the quarantine center after about 36 to 40 hours from the time they landed. During this entire period, the food supply was not provided. The only thing was provided is the next day around 6 p.m., 3 breads and water bottles. 3 pieces of breads and water bottles, and anything else that was not provided. And I believe that both the Department of Health and CHP are working to the best of their ability under stressed circumstances. But however, there are few loopholes, or there are few places where we all need to collectively pull our socks to ensure that there is a smooth transition at airport, and passengers, irrespective of which background of ethnicity, irrespective of which race or religion or which nationality they belong from, they are treated equally, and their food, especially the dietary needs, are recognized and addressed.
Video.
OK， 咁等下，我依家連線埋另外一位朋友仔。
Do the conclusion.
咁就係第2個個案嗰位，咁佢會講個情況。Hello.
Hi.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Yep.
So, I was a passenger flying on AI310 Air India from 17th of September to 18th of September. I landed in Hong Kong at 6 a.m. Travel from there onward, we went through the whole registration system of the bracelets and the testing system. So we were completed with the tests at around 8:30 a.m. of Hong Kong time. Then we were transported to this gate called 201. We were assigned with tables for social distancing measures with 1.5 meters of gap area. So the issue is that wasn't any problem until then. We were told to wait for the test for around that it would take around 8 hours. So we were assuming that. We waited the whole day. Just the only food facilities that were provided were a muffin, biscuits, and a piece of bread with obviously one of, I think it was a lemon tea. So we had to go through the whole day with that. But then we kept on waiting for the test results. While there were other flights there, they all got tested pretty quick. But our flight, the results came at around 9 to 10 p.m. at the night time, which was already 13 to 14 hours. And I think that's quite a long time. Not sure why, but that wasn't a big issue until then, because we were finally happy to go. So they said they would only pass the test results when they have all test results. Finally, they passed all the test results. I got my test. I was tested negative. But my brother was traveling with me. They couldn't find his paper, and 15 more people there. which included women with children, single mothers with 2 children. There were 3 single mothers, all 3 with 2 children, and there were I think 2 more men and 2 elderly people and 1 young adult. So all these people were just stuck there, and nobody told us what is going on. We tried asking everyone else left. So there were around 250 passengers on the flight. 15 were left behind. Everyone else was allowed to leave. We didn't understand what was going on, but no one explained to us. No one. I went to the immigration, I went to the officers who were at the airport to try to talk to them what was going on. Everyone else was doing the same because everyone was panicking what is going on. And they were completely just doing this. They were saying no, no. And at one point, one of them even said, speak Chinese with me. I mean, it's an international airport. Why do I need to speak Chinese with them? I was lucky enough, since I came to Hong Kong when I was 6 years old. So I do know how to speak Chinese. But there are a lot of people who are uneducated and who travel from other countries to Hong Kong. It doesn't mean the airport staff needs everyone to speak in Chinese with them, right? It's an international airport. So that was one issue. I kept trying to, there were around 6 to 7 airport officers captured at one point, and they were just trying to make my voice just to be not heard at all. But I was resilient because there was, the kids with the single mothers, they kept on crying for the past 2 hours continuously, because maybe you never know, the babies need milk, and it's actually pretty hard to deal with babies, you know. I think the kid was only around 3 to 4 years old. So finally, I managed to somehow talk to the health Department of Health, whoever was in charge. There were only 2 people in charge at that moment, and they were like, "Oh, we're not sure what is going on. Your reports were unidentified," they said.
What?
I don't understand what unidentified means. So they said you have to wait till the morning, which they weren't willing to tell me before that. They only told me that because I pressurized them. And this was around at 1 a.m. of nighttime again. So which is around 20 hours, let's say, from the time where we had been tested. And then onwards, we went, we were like, we were again told to sit on the tables and the chairs, which we had been sitting for the past 20 hours. And when I asked the airport staff, "Oh, how about the meal? That's the least you could provide." And they said, "Oh, the meal is right there." He was pointing to the muffin and the biscuits. I mean, which is completely ridiculous, because I don't think that were gonna in any way acceptable, because you're supposed to be humane. The airport staff should not just work on the set of guidelines they are given. They should also try to use their personal opinions or personal experience in it, right? And then from then onward, I talked to the health officials back and forth, because no one else was educated enough to do so, so I was the only one doing that. If I wasn't there, I don't know what worse situations they would have faced. So finally, at 3 a.m., they decided to put up these makeshift beds and provide us these meals at around 5 a.m. in the morning. And those meals consisted of, try to listen to this, those meals consisted of 4 chicken wings and potato wedges. That's it, nothing else. If the Department of the Health giving us meals, and they're giving us junk food, after waiting for the food for 27 hours. Does that make any sense? And so we were finally promised that we were the first priority in the morning to be tested, and it would be at around, for our test results. They didn't say if the test results would be tested again. They said the working hours would start at 9 again. So we were promised that maybe around 11 we will be ready to go. We waited until 11, nobody was willing to talk. I tried talking to the staff. At one point, I was like, I can't handle this, because there's literally kids here, there's mothers who haven't eaten because they fed their food to the kids. Because they're vegetarian and they were given chicken wings, so they only ate potato wedges. So I talked to them, I talked to the officials, and I was like, I need someone more responsible to talk to me, who can at least coordinate what is going on, because there's also a lack of communication between the passengers as well as the people who are working at higher positions. I felt like there was no pressure given to them. So I was like, I want someone more responsible to talk to them. The person in charge there, this lady, she told me, do you know the law? She asked me, do I know the law? For what? Because I said I want to talk to a higher person, whoever is more responsible, and I would even go to the meeting room, which they said the person was in the meeting room if I need to talk to that person. So they said I need to know the law about that. But luckily this old guy came, and I think he was from the health department as well, and I respect him. He did take some responsibility. He provided us at least better meals, and we were finally, but still, we were able to leave the airport at 3 p.m. of the next day, which is in total around 33 hours. And we were not given any accommodation. I think at least it's just 15 people. If you knew that the result would come on the next day, there should have been at least some arrangements, at least like let's say for the hotel rooms, because I don't think that's a lot to do. Or you could at least provide good meals, at least tend the people who are cooking with them what going on, rather than them having to ask again and again and again. Because I bet if any person works for 33 hours or doesn't get to sleep or faces such kind of situation, I believe anyone would get frustrated. That's it. I just hope the airport, no other family has to go through such a thing. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening.
係咪俾咪球先
OK，
咪佢要咪啊，可能咪都得嘅咁就。
聽喺度嘅各位好啊，我係機場發展關注網絡發言嚟，都係屯門區議員胡坤泰。咁過去幾年以嚟都睇住呢一個即係機場相關嘅一啲嘅即係事嘅。喺新聞稿我都講咗，其實機場咧喺到依家今日為止咧，只有一間係禁區裏邊離港層嘅清真認證餐廳嘅啫。係根據翻機管局嘅網站啊，就係咁，得一間嘅啫，係喺離港層1號客運大樓裏邊。咁即係話，如果喺早前嘅時間，機管局安排所有飛機喺呢一個中長客運廊落機再檢查嘅話咧，你任何抵港層嘅乘客咧，其實邊一忽你都冇可能可以 access 到呢一個嘅清真食物嘅，係啦。咁呢一樣嘢其實係睇得出啦，呢一個香港國際機場啦，包括機管局本身咧，根本係冇預備過喺疫情之下點樣可以令到旅客舒舒服服咁樣喺度等攞 results， 又或者佢哋主動咁樣係同衛生署講，有一啲有需要嘅乘客，佢哋可能喺飲食上邊，又或者係因為宗教，又或者係佢哋嘅文化嘅需要，又提出相應適切嘅協助。例如好簡單，即係我唔係今次自己講緊行口闊啦。譬如話其他所講嘅其他嘅信仰，譬如話係即係 culture food 咁樣世界冇。如果有啲人係對頭先所講啦，一啲麵包嘅嘢係敏感嘅話，咁佢點食啊？即係對澱質對 gluten 敏感嘅話，咁其實係冇喎。食啲咩？食唔到嘢。成件事其實係睇到機管局有冇盡力過係協助翻喺呢一個隔離區裏面嘅旅客咧，定係機管局諗住 outsource 咗嗰個嘅地方出去俾衛生署，佢連個接待嘅責任都 outsource 埋。即係 outsourcing your area for quarantine doesn't mean you outsource your responsibilities or hospitality. There's no way you could do it. 所以到最後咧，其實我哋睇翻啊機管局個 website 咧，好大隻字講 Where amazing journey begins. Okay.
Very amazing.
It's really amazing.
Super amazing.
即係呢件事，其實如果係真係機管局同埋衛生署係有事先 航空公司又好，又或者係同其他嘅部門係夾都好咧，其實喺禁區裏邊係可以做到一啲俾錢、自行俾錢嘅購買食物安排嘅。就算係講得用其他嘅即係類比或者標準嚟講咧，如果你係一個被扣留人士，你都可以要求自己付款去購買食物。但係呢一次係如果你係喺一啲 quarantine 嘅 area 裏邊，你連呢一個嘅權利都冇，即係其實係同呢一個即係歐洲嘅難民營咧更加不堪。It's even worse than refugee camp in Lesbos. Seriously. 咁最後啦，咁其實成件事咧，佢哋即係兩位嘅 case 嘅 treatment 咧，其實等同咧香港政府同大家講嘅啫 ，Don't come to Hong Kong，就係咁多。我唔知道究竟今朝早林鄭所講啦 call and call 佢嗰個嘅熔斷機制係會係點樣嘅操作，又或者會唔會關事？但係其實你點樣斷都好，我頭先睇機管局嘅即係 website 啦，其實每一日我哋而家香港仍然有好多嘅航班係由唔同嘅國家或者地區到嚟，非洲又有，曼谷又有，杜拜又有，Amsterdam 歐洲好多地方，美國都有。你有咁多個國家嘅地區嘅人嚟嘅時候，佢哋本身已經有好多唔同嘅 dietary needs 同埋呢一個 religious needs。點解你衛生署做咗咁耐 quarantine， 你到依家你都唔醒覺到有呢啲咁嘅問題？然後你機管局竟然係唔會主動去作出任何嘅 recommendation 去配合，呢個係最令人 frustration 嘅地方。
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank the press for being here today. It's unfortunate every time there's an issue for ethnic minorities we have to have a press conference. It's ridiculous in 2020 today that the government still cannot take matters into their own hands. We're not just here because of this issue at the airport. It has started since February when the COVID-19 had started in Hong Kong. I'll never forget in April when the health department mixed up a Nepalese father and son in quarantine, and then in the press conference said because their names were alike we made a mistake. Lucky no one died. What if it had happened?